In this video we are going to study a very instructive game in which we will see how white easily refutes the Latvian Gambit. The game began with the moves e4, e5, knight f3 and f5. The Latvian Gambit. Black sacrifices a pawn to try to take the initiative. Now white captures the e5 pawn, which is the best move for white. Now white threatens to check with his queen on the h5 square. Black played queen f6, preventing the check of the white queen on the h5 square and with the idea of preparing to attack with his queen on the kingside. Now, the white knight is attacked. So white played knight c4, defending the knight and with the idea of taking the knight towards the e3 square, where it will be very well placed, since from there it will defend the g2 pawn. Black captured the pawn on e4, recovering the pawn. White played knight c3, developing the queen's knight and threatening to capture the e4 pawn. Black played queen g6, defending the pawn on d3 and pressing against the g2 pawn. White responded with d3, attacking against the opponent's central pawn. The game continued. E takes d3. And after bishop takes d3, the black queen is attacked. White will be able to castle and attack against the black king, who is still in the center without castling. White has a clear advantage. Now black played queen takes g2, capturing a pawn and threatening to capture the h1 rook. White responded with queen h5 check, going on for the counterattack to take advantage of his development advantage and attack against the black king. If black now plays king d8. White answers bishop e4, to defend the rook on h1 and force the opposing queen to retreat. The black queen has no retreat squares. So, black has to play knight f6 counterattacking against the white queen. But white plays bishop g5, pinning the enemy knight and white wins. In the game, after queen h5 check, black played g6. White replied queen e5 check. And after bishop e7. White played bishop e4, to defend the rook on h1 and attack the opposing queen. Black played queen h3, to defend his queen. White played queen takes h8, capturing a rook and threatening to capture the g8 knight, which cannot move because it is pinned. If black now plays queen e6, to defend his knight and pin the bishop on e4. White can respond with bishop e3, completing the development of his minor pieces, unpinning the bishop on e4 and preparing to castle on the long side. White is winning. For example, in case of queen takes c4. White plays bishop d5 and wins. And in case of bishop f6, white simply plays queen takes h7 and is threatening bishop takes g6 and wins. For example, after queen takes c4, white plays knight d5 and wins. In the game, after queen takes h8, black played king f8. White responded with bishop d5 and black resigned. A very illustrative game in which we have seen how to refute and destroy the Latvian Gambit.